Good afternoon. So I took some time before starting the second video regarding the IDF, and the reason is that there are so much things that could be said, but I think that maybe it's not my place because actually these are most of it is very well known, like the destructive effects of the IDF on the Israeli society. It's something that is clear to anyone that just want to open their eyes, and many people did, even in Israel. Not only about it's not. I'm not the first person in Israel that understood that the militarization of the society has tremendous effects on like all aspects of culture and life, and of course that I mean. Maybe most importantly, we should mention the Palestinians that are victims of this militarization. This is perhaps the most the worst consequence. But I mean it's all well known to anyone that just want to know. So. And I mean, it's not a secret. You see, I mean, so many like politicians have like military background, and even the preparation for the military. I mean, both like actual preparation and also indoctrination towards the military is a huge part of the education system in the high school level. And this, it takes like place of other things, naturally. It occupies people like young people's like men and women minds, and it at best we can say that it comes in in the expense of other like horizons that could have opened in that very very vulnerable and important age. And instead of that, people occupy themselves with, okay, what's going to be in the military, and how we're going to pass it, and maybe what we're going to things like that. And of course it's only the tip of the iceberg, because it's a huge people at their most maybe these the ages since 18 to 20 or 18 to 21 are ages that can be used for great opening of new horizons, or even just for starting businesses, starting going to college, doing even starting families. It's not it's not nothing to be ashamed of, to start family in these ages, and many people do in Israel, especially from the people that are in the religious background. But instead of that, you're just subjected. So many people just subject themselves to the boot of the Israeli military force, and I think that if I want to ask myself what's the most what's the reason that God really what's the strongest reason why God really hates the IDF is, above all, I think what the IDF is actually doing to the people that actually are recruiting to it at the age of 18 and until 20 or 21. And I think that the process of what's really happening to people in the IDF is actually much more severe than many imagine. Even people that are that actually served in the IDF and had very bad experiences. Because it's more than just bad experiences or good experience. It's more than that. Whether you were happy or not, or whether you were again a profession or not, it's more than that. It's all the things that that are that are becoming standard. It's a standardization of many aspects of Israeli society that takes place, a socialization into the Israeli society that takes place in the military. For many people, both men and women, it's something that stays with them until they die, and without even knowing, they become soldiers forever for the Israeli country. And this is very, very common. It's not something, I mean, that only happens to a few or so. It happens to large proportion of the Israeli society. Now, it should be said that it's true that not everybody are recruited, but many do, and it's it's mandatory, and the military, I mean, they have their own, like, the IDF, they have their own, like, say on the matter of who will and who will not be recruited. I mean, they pick whoever they want, and they pick most. I mean, most of the people that are actually, I mean, that are in enlisted, like, most people that, I mean, that can they can enlist, do enlist. I mean, only if, I mean, it's not that they released most of the people. As, I mean, some militaries, I mean, in the past, at least, I mean, in Europe or other places, I mean, they could, like, pick, like, few, and they released the most. No, it's not the case. Most are actually being recruited from the pool of the people that are able to be recruited. So the military has, like, the final word of what, I mean, what people to actually, I mean, get into in its rank. And of course that, I mean, they put, I mean, the most, like, I mean, they put the most, like, emphasis on the people that they see as the elites, which of course are the people that, I mean, that belongs to, like, it's actually, in the past, it's the way that the elites were defined. It's not, I wouldn't say that today the elites are defined by the military service, but I say that for certain the military has a great emphasis on recruiting and keeping recruiting the elites, I mean, of society. Just, I mean, for, I mean, even if just for like, for the purpose of keeping, like, the militarization process in place for, like, for the people that will eventually be the ruling class of Israel, and they do it magnificently. So, I mean, this is something that they've never changed in, I mean, the inception of Israel. That, I mean, the IDF takes care of that. I mean, all the people all the young people that potentially will be the ruling class of Israel. I mean, whether in politics or, I mean, in the industry, like in the private sector, it doesn't matter. But that all of them, or almost all of them, will serve in the military and pass through this militarization process, and they will, and hopefully, and many times what happens, it changes the view of life forever, like, until they die. They keep being these soldiers until they die, and this is something that, I mean, it's incredibly, I mean, important in order to understand the Israeli society, and it's got so many, like, bad like, consequences. But I decided that I will not, like, start to list all the horrible, like, consequences of this, because really, I mean, there are so many, and this was, I mean, this was done by other people as well, like Israelis and non-Israelis. I mean, so it's not like a new thing. So what I decided to do is that just to speak about one issue which is very close to me, like to my own story, my life story, and the tragedy of my life, because I understood that the tragedy of my life is, like, one aspect of it is greatly linked to the IDF, but not to my own service. Like, I'm not going to speak about my own service. Like, I mean, as I said, it was quite long. It was 6 years, and, I mean, like, almost twice, and, I mean, the normal, and but I'm not the problem. I mean, the major problem of the IDF, like, in my story, is not actually my own service, but the existence of the IDF and the way that it exists in the Israeli society. So I'll explain. A major aspect of my life is this aspect of, as you say, in the intelligence communities of the world, dying, like painting. Like, I mean, that I was painted by people around me in very bad ways, both just, like, by false testimonies, and also, I mean, using like, you know, clones, and, like, I mean, actors that, I mean, that filmed my face in all sorts of videos that portrayed me doing all sorts of. I've never seen the videos, but I speculated about their existence long ago because it was really obvious. I expect, I mean, what could be the, I mean, in the videos, probably, like, sexual issues that are horrible. Like, I mean, and it's kind of like, I mean, it's the bread and butter of the Mossad. I mean, that's what they do, like, since forever, probably. Like, I mean, they with whatever technology that they have, they create more, like, videos with that portray their victims in supposedly sexual, like, acts that are immoral, or in this way or the other, or, you know, or always, or this way, that way, or always. So obviously it was done to me, but And I understood very quickly, on 2019, that this painting project is done by everyone around me, and that of course it's like, oh, it's done for the purpose of both, like, I mean, internally in Israel, so people in Israel, in the intelligence community, will sort of like that, of such things, but also they have like foreign clients, like intelligence services abroad. And I understood that if people in abroad really wanted to know the truth about my life, then, I mean, those videos and those testimonies wouldn't have like any credence at all. And that people abroad wanted to be that way. I didn't understand why. Like, only much later I understood that they buy the stuff, like they buy the Neos for me in order like to give it to their Titan females, because it helped their Titan females produce their own. I'm not sure material. I think that it's also. I estimate, like, hypothesis that it's also kind of nanobots, even though I must say I cannot be certain. I haven't like seen the material, not under a microscope, but not in any other way, like, so. But it's something like, it's like fluids. I mean, whether like, I mean, the menstrual fluids or like something like that, like blood from the Titan females that they also have abroad, and they use it. I mean, they consume it themselves, and this, I mean, they need my nanobots like as an intermediary aspect, and they wanted to keep it that way. So, and they understand very well that this is, I mean, it's crimes against, it's a crime against humanity. It's worse than what the Nazis do. Then, I mean, that in order for this horrible thing to take place, I mean, a horrible like torture and subjugation of human beings must take place. And I understand that, and in order to justify itself, to justify in their own minds, like in a foreign intelligence mind, they needed me to be that monster. So they believe the what, I mean, the Israeli pumped them for so many years. So it's not, I mean, so as I said, it's everybody is like, I mean, is all the intelligence services that knew about me in any way were part of this monstrous conspiracy, and they are all punished. I mean, that's why, I mean, that's why the Starship do not aim their rays only on Israel, but, as you know, on other countries as well right now. And the entire Earth is fried, and it will continue to be so, because all are guilty. But nevertheless, we should speak mainly now. Currently, I want to speak about Israel, because the part of Israel was indeed larger than the rest, because they constricted the whole, like, the whole intelligence services for the purpose of painting me. And one should ask, how is it even possible? Like, I mean, for so many years, so many people like had to comply with, I mean, trashing me. And I mean, it was everybody that knew me, and especially the people most, like my family first, and like the people that were most, that presumably were my best friends. I mean, they were the ones that participated in this conspiracy and took the biggest part. The biggest part in the false testimony, the biggest part in allowing these videos to happen, the biggest part. And you can ask yourself, how is it possible that, I mean, how is it possible that all of them were such, like, and I should remind you, it's not only that they were cruel to me personally. It's more than that. They actually put the entire Earth in danger, because they already knew from the history of this conflict, like the Star Wars conflict, that, I mean, that these were the others. Maybe they didn't know about like the existence of the cherubs, like my species. Perhaps they didn't, but they did know that the Titans are not like, I mean, unprotected that it seems from the beginning. They understood that, I mean, the Titans are remnants of like old civilizations, or that, I mean, at least in the past it was, I mean, under the guardianship or like leadership of creatures that were technologically superior, not only to Titans but also to humans. And this had like many evidence since at least the 1970s. So they knew that, I mean, whoever the bosses of the Titans are, or their guardians, or the managers, or whatever they call it, they knew that they might come back and take vengeance on the Israelis and on Earth in general. And they didn't care about it. But it's not only that; it's more than that. And I should add another very important aspect of the conspiracy, Israeli conspiracy. You should understand that the fact that my nature is different than like other foreigners is well known in Israel, because, I mean, they use me to get, I mean, the stuff, and they didn't use other, like, they didn't have alternatives, at least it's in the 1970s. But I would argue that they knew very well that my nature is different from the Titans that they had, like the male Titans that they had during the 1970s, because I mean, they knew the stuff from the 1970s. They've eaten them, and it wasn't as potent and clear and in the qualities that I have in my own like body. So even if they didn't like, so it's not like it's not. It doesn't think. It doesn't require much like like curiosity or like like open-mindedness or commercial outlook to understand that my existence could have been a great like a great tremendous leap for mankind, for humankind in general. At least and as I said, if people like 20 years ago, when I was about 20 or 19, told me about my nature and just allowed me, even not helping me, just refrain from torturing me and lying to me and allow me to conduct the research that I do now, and probably back then we could have done it with much more like freedom and effort. Just allow me to do this research that I currently do. I'm under arrest with no money at all, and I need to scrape the bottom to find the raw material. If just 20 years ago people would have left me to do it, this almost at an age that I could have done it without a problem. And also I was like I didn't like feel like any animosity towards like humans in general, because it was before all the torture. So almost certainly you could say that in this line of like alternative line of history today, like this would have been a different world. Like it was, you would everybody around the globe would have lived in a world that that had experienced like a new industrial revolution at minimum, if not something even bigger than that. A new industrial revolution and a revolution, for certainly a revolution in medicine. This is certain. The implication of like the positive implication of all people around the world would have been amazing, and this is something that they could have known and they had known, and they decided that they don't want it for all mankind, that they prefer to be the ones that control the alien, to get the money for their own like pocket, because of course they sell the stuff and that's what they do for like that they did the whole 20 years and before that, of course. But if we focus on these 20 years, that's what they did. So they preferred to deprive humanity of a potential like new industrial age, perhaps even a new golden age, I would say, just for the favor of gaining money for their own pockets. And although they put the whole world at risk, because they knew from the history of the Star Wars conflicts, at least since the 1970s, that there are other forces they could take vengeance like on what they do to the Titans. And let's not forget me myself. Like the people that painted me knew me. They were my.
יש פה בחור חדש.
כן.
בחדר קטן.
Okay.
זהו.
תודה רבה. So the people, and let's not forget myself. I'm also like a person, and they knew me. And they knew that I wasn't like, I wasn't a bad person. I wasn't a perfect person, but I wasn't a bad person. I always obeyed the law, and I served the military, studied in the academy, got married, like children, and they knew that. They spilled the blood of an innocent person, and everybody, took part in this conspiracy. So you should ask yourself, how is it even possible that so many people are so, first of all, so bad towards an innocent person, like so disgusting, and also that they don't care about the future of mankind. That that they put the whole world at risk, and they deprive the world of like a potential new industrial age, like a new industrial revolution. How is it possible? And and again, everyone should have been part of this in order for that to actually happen. Like, because if only one, or let's say two, it marks like people that know me, that person that were close to me during my life, or just opening their mouths to the intelligence, to the foreign intelligence community. And now that I understand better, like how it works, I understand that it wasn't like something that needed much in order to happen. Like, it could have happened in so many ways that wouldn't even put in risk the people that actually opened their mouths, the whistleblowers. But there were no whistleblowers. There was not a single whistleblower. And I asked myself, why? Why throughout so many years, so many people, participated in this cruelty towards me, cruelty towards the entire Earth, cruelty towards the Titans, cruelty towards me, cruelty towards themselves, cruelty towards the Earth. How is it possible? And the only answer that that you can actually give, which will be meaningful, is to say this is a conscripted society. This is a society that everybody is either like in effect or potentially a soldier. They are all soldiers, and they were they were used to be soldiers. They were used to be soldiers of always, because the entire country is in a way conscripted. It's the mentality of the IDF. Even though, of course, I don't think the IDF managed any of this. Like, probably it was all managed by the Shabak and the Mossad. I don't think the IDF, the IDF itself, like, took like great, part in this project, because that's not what they do. These things belong to the Shabak and the Mossad. But what's important here is not the management of the IDF, but the mentality of the IDF. The way that the IDF is imbued in every like all the people in this Israel, specifically anyone that is somewhat in some way related to to the ruling class, or certainly to the people that are part of the intelligence community in general, not only of the IDF but in general. And I think that if Israel wasn't like the conscripted state that it is, if the IDF wasn't like so important in the mind of Israelis and like in the fabric of society, I don't understand. This might have not even been possible. Like, for sure, during so many years, there were several whistleblowers, like people that actually knew me and that could have exposed the truth to us, because the truth was so far away than what the way that I was painted, that it was not difficult to actually expose the truth. All what was needed was like for one or two people that will be like, that will care not only about me but about the world. That they will think about the world, and that they will understand that that there are things that are like more important than being a soldier and saluting to your commander, and that that they are human beings, and that they should think about the humanity. And they should think that that what they do is destruction of humanity and depriving humanity of potential great benefits, and that as human beings they should open their mouths, and then they never did. And I think that the possibility of this is the fact that it's possible is greatly linked to the existence of the IDF and the militarization of the Israeli society.